At the beginning of my real estate career, I was selling real estate in Gainesville, Florida, which, if you've ever been there, outside of the university is a very sleepy, hollow town. Once you get outside the university, it's just cows and churches. Not as though there's anything wrong with cows and churches, but that's all there is. The broker that I decided to partner with at the time, they had a boot camp that you had to go through before they would let you in to the company. And it consisted of 2 weeks of sales training. You know, things like contacts equals contracts and making calls and things of that nature. And it culminated in a listing presentation that you actually had to give in front of all of the rest of the company. And they partnered you with another new agent. For those of you who may not know me, I am somebody who's very motivated by significance, and I'm also incredibly, disgustingly competitive, right? So I wanted to win. I wanted to be the absolute best of the whole presentation in front of the whole company, right? So I took it super seriously. And they told us to print out this information about like their listing presentation, their marketing thing and everything was like these pieces of paper. And they told us to go to Office Depot and to print it out and to get a flip chart so we could present it. And they gave us a script, right? So I dutifully went to Office Depot, printed it all out, got my flip chart, ready to rock, got my script, and I went home to my wife, Carla, and said, hey, we need to start role playing. Not that type of role play, but we need to start role playing, okay? And she's like, okay, cool. So we start practicing. And I'm diligently practicing, like, you know, all day, all night. And it comes the big day. It's time to present. So my partner is a all shucksy kind of guy, you know, like a grandpa-ish kind of guy. And he goes first, and it's embarrassing. He clearly did not prepare, okay? He was dressed in jeans and a t-shirt, okay? And he stumbled through the presentation. It was very clear that he didn't practice at all. Now I show up, I'm the only person wearing a suit. Now it's from the Dead Man collection, and let me explain what I mean by that. The first suit that I ever bought, I bought it at an estate sale because I had no money. And a guy died who happened to be my shape and size. So I'm going through the, I swear to God, it's a true story. Going through the closet at the estate sale, I look at my wife, I'm like, suit's pretty nice. Bought the suit for 20 bucks. Add a little pocket square there, let's go. So forever and ever, it'll always be from the Dead Man collection. First suit ever got, right? So I show up dressed fresh like $1,000,000, got my little pocket square in there, and now it's my turn to present. And because I had spent a lot of time doing what? And preparing, I was able to get through it. Now, it wasn't perfect, okay? Because I'd only spent, 48 hours practicing. But I took it really seriously. And in my mind, I was so worried and concerned, like, oh my God, what if he asked me how much my commission is? Anyone besides me have ever been worried or concerned about that? Yeah, more hands should be going up. What if they say, I've never heard of your company before? Anybody ever been worried about that? Yeah. Anybody on the way there, you're like, holy shit, I hope they don't ask me that. I hope they don't ask me that, right? It's happened to you before, right? So I'm all concerned, but like this guy didn't even prepare for the damn presentation. So he just doesn't ask me anything. So I'm like, whew, right? But I never forgot that. Because the money is not in the service. The money's in the selling of the service. And if you want to get paid like a professional, you need to practice like one. There is only, out of 20,000 agents in the multiple listing service, that is rapidly going down right now, by the way, guys. People are getting jobs driving Uber, working at restaurants, because when times get tough, only the skilled get paid. So there's, out of 20,000 agents in the multiple listing service, there's only 100 that do 20 million in volume, myself included. That's it. You have 20,000 people competing for 100 jobs. How would you practice if you were competing for one of those jobs?
Try to be the best.
Trying is a degree of effort that's accompanied by an excuse. If you really wanted to compete for one of those jobs, not just fuck around. Not just treat this like a vending machine that when you make a few bucks, you go to Costa Rica and post it on Instagram. So since that boot camp, I have spent 10,000 hours in role playing practice. I've gone on thousands of listing appointments. And I've spent probably $400,000 and counting in my own personal growth and development, getting access to the best teachers, the best trainers, the best mentors. And now I no longer am at all concerned as to what somebody might say to me on a listing presentation. I no longer sweat on my way there. Oh my God, I hope they don't ask me that. And now I actually get paid to present and teach people how to present. And I really do believe, I truly do, that everybody in this room with the right blueprint, the right mindset, and the right skills, guys, you can list as many properties as I have, if not more. Right? I've spent the last 17 years of my career selling 2,000 properties. I know, you can raise your eyebrows, that's a lot. So, what we're going to do today is I'm going to go over with you the listing presentation. The exact presentation that I've used to list hundreds of properties a year. It's broken down into 3 separate sections. And then we're going to go over some frequently asked questions, common objections. So that way you're fully prepared. Guys, because when we go from 6 million transactions in a calendar year to a projected 3.8 million, that means there are more people competing for the same opportunities. And if you don't have a competitive advantage, don't compete, right? I'll tell you a real quick story. So I remember going on a listing appointment at the beginning of my career. It was somewhere in like Coral Springs. It was an expired listing. And I knew that they had 3 appointments scheduled that day, right? One at like 12, one at like 2, and then me at 3:15, 3:30. So I show up at 2:30 and I knock on the door. What do you think happened to that agent that was sitting there? Start shitting their pants. Owner comes out, pokes their head out. They say, oh, well, I'm sorry. We have an agent here. Would you mind waiting outside? I said, that's no big deal. I'll just wait in the living room. Are you that confident in your presentation? Then the guy leaves. I sit down. Husband looks at me. He's like, that was stone cold. And then he signed the listing agreement. So when times get tough, only the skilled get paid. We really need to dial this in. If there are less opportunities, I need to make sure there's no security in this business. There's only opportunities. So if I get my skills to such a degree that if I present, there's an 85% chance I'll earn the business, I've just created security for myself and my family. Who's up for this? Say aye. Aye. I'm sorry, we're in the wrong room. Who's up for this? Say aye. Aye. Good. According to the Association of Realtors, the average agent who goes on 100 listing presentations will only take 20 listings. Why do you think that is?
Not prepared.
Not prepared. They're like that grandpa guy, just going in there, yeah, winging it. Showing up with flip-flops and khakis. No presentation. They're like, oh my God, you have a puppy? I have a puppy. We should be best friends. 20 listings, 15 sales, 150 grand a year. I don't know why you guys think this is a lot of money. Let's do the math on this. 150, you have taxes, don't you? Mm-hmm. About 50 grand. Now you got 100. You got business expenses, don't you? How much are those? 20, 30 grand? Yeah. Now you're at 70. You got a rent or your mortgage payment, car payment. You want to take one nice trip a year. How much money's left over? Zero! And no government can help you with that. You have to earn your way out of it. So if I go on 100 listing appointments, I take 85. That's, oh my God, look at the difference. 80 listings, 70 sales, $700,000. Same appointments, same time. What's the difference? Skills, bro. Skills pay the bills. Skills pay the bills. Again, that key phrase, you want to get paid like a professional, you need to practice like one. Amateurs practice until they can get it right. Professionals practice until they can't get it wrong. I should be able to wake you up in the middle of the night and be like, bro, give me your listing presentation. And you're like, hi, my name is Aaron, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. And you just run right into it. Or I should be able to bump into you in the hallway and be like, hey, your commission's too high. No hesitation. Not like, ha, 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 oh, I'm not ready. Let me get back to YouTube and shit. Boom, you go right into it. Because guys, these conversations are worth 10, 15, 20,000 bucks. It's immature to not be prepared. There's 3 separate sections of the listing presentation. From the time you hit the door till the time you start to talk about price. Then there's the pricing portion of the listing presentation. Then there's handling objections and closing. Okay? It's a map. You just follow it. Now, I'm curious. Let's say you got on a plane and the pilot said, you know what? We're not going to go with the checklist today. We're just going to wing it. Would you get on that plane? No. Imagine you went to a surgeon. Surgeon has a checklist. They're like, you know what? We're just going to bypass the checklist today. I got this shit. I'm just going to wing it. Would you be okay with that? Why are you guys okay with going on listing presentations and winging it? It's the same thing, right? And people are going to say yes. It typically takes 7 no's before somebody says yes. And somebody's going to be in control. I want it to be me. So what do I mean by that? How do we incorporate this into the first section? So if you're taking notes, put like from the time I hit the door till the time I start to talk about price. Okay? From the time I hit the door, time I start talking about price. So the moment that you hit the door, all of this is crafted and scripted. So the first thing that I would remind you guys to do, because you're all serious and shit, is to smile when you knock on the door. I had to remind myself to do that. Because I used to be like, here to do business. Right? So you knock on the door, they open the door, you're like, hi, Aaron Novella, nice to meet you. Did you want me to take my shoes off? Why would I say that to them? Because I'm walking into their space. Just being respectful. And if they say yes, great, do it. I'm like, I didn't fucking want to do that, but fine. You know what I mean? But if they say, and don't have a hole in your sock, right? But if they say, no, that's cool, you're like, okay, great. What I'd like to do is take a quick look around the home. Would that be okay? Yes. Why am I doing that immediately? Nope. Taking control. Somebody's going to be in control. I want to be in control. Because if I let them be in control, there's going to be a little fucking dog running around. We're going to be sitting on the couch drinking tea. Like nothing's going to happen. Right? How many people say to me, sat on one of those couches, you're like fucking, yeah, it's a lovely home, yeah. Somebody's got to be in control. And they're like, no, that's cool. You can take a look around. Now what I want to start to do is I want to start to immediately start to close. You guys wait till the end to close. I don't know why. And remember, it takes 7 no's to get to 1 yes. So I want to get all those 7 in right away. So the first thing I'm going to say to them is like, well, you know, your home is really lovely, Chris. It's tastefully furnished. So I'm curious, when we have offers come in, are we going to be including the contents, or do you want to take that with you to your next destination? Taking it with me. Good. What just happened there? When who has offers come in? We have offers come in. It's called an assumptive close. Being assumptive is, yeah, I know. She was like, oh. An assumptive close, right? Being assumptive is a function of confidence, and confidence is a function of role play and practice. Okay? He's gonna be like, no, we want to take that with us. Okay, fantastic. And then he continues to show me through, and I'm like, yeah, you know, if I remember correctly, Chris, you were kind enough to share with me that you aren't planning on making any changes or modifications before I start to bring buyers through. You just want me to help you to sell it as it is, where it is. Is that right?
That's right.
What just happened? Close number 2, right? You just want me to help you to sell it as it is, where it is, right? And it's subtle like this. Notice, as I'm doing this, you all guys start to do it. No, your head, even without you noticing. As I start to bob my head, you guys are like, yeah. Right? So 2 closes. Have we talked about commission? Have we talked about my fucking snazzy marketing plan? Which, by the way, is the same as everybody else's, but don't tell anybody. We use the same photographers. Right? So then we've done those couple assumptive closes, and now it's time to sit down. Again, you need to be in control. Okay, so what I like to do is like we can go ahead and take a seat here at the kitchen table. Would that be all right? Because if you don't do that, you're going to end up sitting on a little shitty couch somewhere, and it'll be awkward and weird. Okay? Now, in terms of where I want to sit where I'm the center. I want the people to be sitting here, right? So if husband and wife, here, so I can direct to both of them. If I'm sitting across from you, what does that create? An adversarial position. And there's a border and a boundary between me and you. Okay. Make sense?
Never thought about that?
Of course. That's what I'm here for, bro.
That's psychology.
Yeah. So I want to sit here at the end, and I have the people here. So I'm the direct center of attention, right? Okay. Now, I will say, first and foremost, I just want to begin our time together, Fatima, just by saying thank you. Smiling again. For providing me the opportunity to share some information with you and potentially help you with the sale. I always like to begin these conversations just by asking a few quick questions to make sure we're on the same page. Would that be okay?
Yes.
Perfect. So the first question I have, which I'm pretty positive I know the answer to, based on what you shared with me on the phone before we connected, you guys have definitely decided that you're going to sell the home. You're not interested in like holding on to it or doing something else with it. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Notice I said, would that be okay if I asked you questions? And she said, yes. I asked her another question. She said, yes. That's establishing a pattern of what? Yes. Yes. So, okay, great. And then that leads me to my second question, which I'm also pretty sure I know the answer to, is you guys want to position the property price-wise to sell. You definitely don't want to give it away. That's for sure. At the same time, you don't want to have it sit on the market for like 6 or 7 months just testing the market. Is that correct?
Yes.
She said yes 3 times in a row. I know. Shit's Jedi, right? And then that leads me to my third question. I'm aware I sent you over some information in preparation for connecting. I'm sure you did some due diligence. You checked me out online. You saw track record and reviews. So have you and your family, have you guys already decided that you would like for me and my team to help you with the sale?
Yes.
Yeah. She couldn't even help it. Like, as we're doing it, she's like, yes, yes. But what are we doing there? Look, 2 assumptive closes. Now I directly ask her if she's already decided to hire me yet. What do you guys do? Pick me, please, 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 please. Look at all my cool shit. Let me prove to you how cool I am so you could pick me. And we could be buddies. You see? Now, you're either going to say, what are her options when I ask her that question, by the way?
Yes or no?
Or?
Maybe.
Maybe. Listen, I love yeses, I love nos, I hate maybes. Okay? What's up, team? How are you? Nice to see you. So I love yeses, I love nos, I hate maybes. But I'm cool with either one because now I know what direction to take. You see, if you don't do this and you don't do a close right up front, you don't know what the hell's going on. Mm-hmm. When you ask up front, they might be like, well, we're not sure yet, we're going to talk to
The other agent.
Good, now I know that. Isn't it better to know that now than to know it at the fucking end? 100%. If they say, we're not sure, we want to think it over, cool, I know that. Right? But if I don't ask up front, I want to get it out of the way. So we've closed 3 times. Remember, it takes 7 closes before we get to a yes. Typically, on average. Unless it's like your mom's sister's cousin that wants to list the property, and then they just list it. So let's say she says, no, directly, right to my face. I'm like, that's no problem. I want you to make the decision that you feel is best. I want to be clear, that is my intention, Fatima. So provided that what I say makes sense and you feel comfortable and confident with me and my team, that we can help you get the most and do it quickly and efficiently, I have all of the appropriate paperwork with me, and I'm prepared to go to work for you today. Fair enough?
Yes.
Yeah. What happened there? She tried to tell me she's the boss. I'm like, no, you're not. Right? She's like, we're not going to do this. You know how many times people said, Aaron, I am not signing anything today. And I'm like, that's cute. I know you believe that that's true. Right? But I'm letting her know, like, that's my intention. And along those lines, you were kind enough to share with me that in terms of the selection process of an agent, you were looking for somebody that had a great track record, that had sold properties in this geographic area, had a really good marketing plan, and would communicate with you very well. Is there anything else you'd be looking to hear from me today that would cause you to feel comfortable and confident just to proceed and put me to work? 4 closes. Have I talked about marketing? Have I talked about commission? Have I talked about fucking that I know buyers in Venezuela? Which is horseshit, because you don't. Okay, so when I ask you that, you're like, is there anything else you would need to hear from me that would make you feel comfortable, confident to proceed from work? Tell me commission.
What's your commission?
That's a good question. And I'm more than happy to have a conversation with you with regards to that. So it sounds as though, provided that we check off all those other boxes and we're in agreement in terms of the professional fee, which I know we will be, it won't be a reason why we don't do business. I'm sure we'll come up with something that's mutually beneficial to all parties. Then we'll be able to proceed and go to work. Does that sound about right?
Sure.
Yeah, what just happened? What do you guys do when she asks about the commission? Shit your pants. Oh my God, that's what I didn't want them to ask me about. You see? Cool. So you're like, okay, great. So at the culmination of our time together then, there are a few potential outcomes, right? The first, which we really seem to be moving in that direction, it's an assumptive close. We really seem to be moving in that direction is that you may decide to list your home with me. And by the way, when I say list your home with me, what is that? It's an embedded command. It's neurolinguistic programming. So when I say, at the culmination of our time together, there are a few potential outcomes. The first one is, which we really seem to be moving in that direction, is you may decide to list your home with me. Do you hear it now? Mm-hmm. It's like I'm commanding you to do it. Okay? And we're really excited to have that opportunity. Again, I have all the appropriate paperwork with me. I'm prepared to go to work for you today. The second potential outcome is there's an outside chance for whatever reason you may decide not to list the home with me. And that's okay too. Most of you guys would never say that out loud. Because you're like, oh, please, 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 please. And then that leads us to the third outcome. And this was just as important as the other two, is if for any reason at all, Fatima, if I feel honestly, truly, that I wouldn't be able to help you get what you wanted in the time that you wanted, I may decide to very humbly decline the opportunity to list your home. The reason I would do that is I'd much rather earn your business with integrity, being honest and straightforward about what's reasonable and realistic, versus promising you something I know is not going to happen and not be able to deliver. And any one of those three I feel comfortable with. Fair enough? Mm-hmm. Wow. What was that, what I just did there? Nope.
You avoided them to list at a super high price.
Nope. What was it? Nope. Takeaway close. We pursue that with retreats. I'm demonstrating to you I'm completely unattached to this fucking outcome. Okay? I may decide humbly. Now, it's important how you do this. If you're like, I may decide not to take your shit, that's not going to work. You know what I mean? Notice how I did it. Like, I may decide very humbly to decline the opportunity to list your home. And the reason I would do that, and I give them the reason, I'd much rather earn your business with integrity and be honest, straightforward with regards to what's reasonable, realistic, versus promising you something I know is not going to happen, not be able to deliver. Any one of those three I feel comfortable with. By the way, how many of the agents that they're going to interview are going to say that to them? 0. Instantaneously. I remember being on a listing appointment, somebody's like, bro, we hired you because it felt like you were interviewing us instead of us interviewing you. Instead of like you guys go in there like, here's my wares. Pick me, my secrets. Right? So, and remember, this is still in the, but we haven't even talked about price yet. Okay? I've closed 5 times already. I may decide to humbly decline the opportunity, right? And when anyone else there, I feel perfectly comfortable with. Fair enough? And you're like, yeah, that's fair. Great. So what I'd like to do now is just review some of those questions I asked you over the phone, just to make sure that I'm fully prepared and I can do a great job for you and your family. Would that be okay? What is so I can do a great job for you and your family? We're already working together, right? Is that okay? You're like, yeah, that's great. Great. So you were kind enough to share with me that the main reason you want to sell the home, you guys are moving to Texas. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Yep. And you were also kind enough to share with me that time frame wise, you really want to make this move happen in the next 120 days. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. So what that would mean, I was thinking about this on the way over here, is that in order for us to make that happen in the time that you want, we would have to be under contract in like 30 to 45 days, because it usually takes 30 to 45 days to close. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense to you? Yes. Yeah, and that's something we can certainly accomplish. We just need to get started right away, okay? She's like, yeah, that's what we need to do. Write this down. People are looking to be led. If we walked outside right now and went like this at the sky, we'd have fucking 30 people around us like, what are we looking at? I don't know. People are looking to be led. Our job is to lead them. You're just afraid to lead, right? Mm-hmm. You're trying to like prove yourself worthy. I don't not prove myself worthy. I know I'm worthy. I know I can help you, right? Okay. So, and we're still in that pricing portion, listing portion. We're still in from the time we hit the door, we haven't even talked about price yet. So you were kind enough to share with me, time frame, Okay, and then are you gonna need some help or assistance as far as like finding a new property out in Texas? Would you want me to refer you an agent, or do you already have that under control?
You can refer me an agent.
Right? Cool. And then for showings, right? Like as we progress with this and with showings and stuff, like is someone typically home most of the time, or how does that work?
Yes, somebody's going to be home at all times.
Okay, and that individual, would that be you or your partner, or who would it be?
It would be my mother.
Okay, awesome. And then for your mom, to make it convenient for her, we can make it like by appointment only? Or do you want us to call you first and then you'll let your mom know, or do you want to let your mom know?
Call me first.
Okay, great. And what's the best, absolute best number for me to reach you at? What's happening here? She's already working with me.
I signed the lease, the contract already.
Do you see what I'm saying? In her mind. We're psychologically progressing it forward. People want to say yes. You just got to need to give them a reason to say yes. It's funny, I was on a third-party call with EXP, and he's not in the room. His name's Ken. And he hops on the call. He's like, I'm telling you, Aaron, 98%, this is a no for me. What do you think I said internally? Sure. Yeah, that's cute. I was like, okay, cool. And I'm like, well, tell me how you came to a no. He told me how you came to a no, And at the end, he's like, let's go. And he signs up. Same, no different. It's the same skill applied in a different area. So, okay, great. And when we have offers come in as well, right? Do you want me to communicate them directly with you or with your partner, or how do you want that to work out?
With both of us.
Okay, and what's the best email address for your partner so I can send the offers to both you guys? As she gives me more information, what's happening? We're working together. You're consuming me more. We're moving in the direction. Does that make sense? Okay, great. So, so now that is from the time I hit the door, we haven't to the time I start to actually present price. Okay? That's that first section. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns, hallucinations, observations about the first section of listing presentation? Yes, sir.
So, as far as making the appointment,
Yeah.
I assume you cold call on the phone.
That would be an accurate assumption.
Kind of curious which application you use to do that.
Meaning like which dialing system? Or?
Yeah, which
Yeah.
dialer?
So Mojo's good, Vulcan's good. There's a new one out that's called Batch. And what Batch does is for $1, they change the phone numbers out as they burn out. Because what's happened now with the technology in your phones, it comes up as scam likely. So if you're serious about making outbound calls, you need a service that blows through phone numbers them being like at the same time.
Okay. So for your opening line,
Yeah.
when you're cold calling,
Yeah.
can you?
Yeah, it depends on,
Just for a minute?
yeah, so it depends on who I'm speaking to. So if it's an expired listing, it's like, hi, my name is Aaron. I'm a local real estate agent here in wherever the hell the property is. I was calling because, I noticed that it came off the market this morning as an expired listing. I'm sure you did as well. And I was reaching out very respectfully, of course, simply just to find out if ultimately the goal and objective of yourself and your family was to...
You're the 10th agent that's called me today,
Yeah, I know that.
and I'm getting tired of these calls.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And I know that that certainly was not what you were expecting when you woke up this morning. I'll be sure to take it off my list. Now, while I have you on the phone though, the home is lovely. It's in a great geographic area. Hopefully I'm not being too straightforward. Was there any particular reason you were even considering selling?
We need to move.
Okay, awesome. Well, and I appreciate your kindness and your willingness to share, particularly under the circumstances. And ideally, in terms of what you want, because really that is what's most important here, how soon would you like to make that move an actual reality?
Well, I'd like to do it right away.
Okay, and that's certainly possible, right? You just,
But I think I want to sit and think about it for a few days.
that's okay, because my job's to help you. It's never to talk you into doing anything. I guess I'm wondering though, while I have you on the phone, I mean, you strike me to be someone who understands the process pretty well. Your home's lovely. It's in a great geographic area, great location, great schools. I don't need to tell you that. What do you think stopped it from selling?
I probably had the price too high.
Okay. And was the price something that you recommended or the previous agent recommended?
Well, we kind of came to it together.
Yeah. Okay. And I appreciate, again, that authenticity. Now, I'm wondering, do you think, whatever you decide to do, whether it's sooner or later, me or somebody else, if you can get an opinion in terms of value that could help you to accomplish your goals and objectives in the time frame that you want, would that be worth 10 to 15 minutes of your time?
Well, my wife and I, we want to discuss things.
Of course, and I would expect you to. I'm a married man. Happy wife is a happy life. And I'm curious, though, in terms of the move, right? How excited, I can hear in your voice that you definitely want to make this thing happen. How does she feel about it?
She wants to go also.
Awesome. So if she knew,
She's very disappointed about what happened with this other agent.
yeah, and I mean, let me be the first to tell you that you deserve better service than that. I guess I'm curious if she knew that there was someone who could shed some light on the situation, give you some clear, specific reasons as to why it didn't sell, and what you need to do in order to accomplish it in the time frame that you want. I mean, I'd have to imagine she'd want to speak to them, wouldn't she?
Okay, I'll give you 15 minutes.
I appreciate the opportunity. And it sounds like you're beginning to see why people like you hire me all the time for the job. So may I make a suggestion? So based on what you've been kind enough to share with me, I'm hearing a couple things pretty clearly. The first one is that you definitely still want to sell the property. It's not a question of if, it's just when, and ultimately who's going to help you. The second thing I'm hearing from you is that the more information you can gather right now in terms of why it didn't sell and what you need to change to ensure that it does, the better equipped you'll be so you can make the decision that you feel is best when the time is right. So what I'd like to do is this, and again, I wouldn't mind, I'm in your area all the time anyway, love to have the opportunity to pop by, take a look, see what it has to offer in person. While I'm there, I'll show you two things super clearly. Number one, how come it didn't sell? Number two, how we need to position the property to make sure we maximize value for you, but also accomplish our goal quickly and efficiently. And then at least this way, whatever you decide to do, you'll have everything
Sounds
you need.
good, but let's do it in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and that's okay. You know, I'm more than happy to help you a couple weeks from today. I guess I'm wondering though, for you personally, let's say that we knew that if you made a decision to wait a couple weeks, that it could end up affecting how much you can get, you know, with interest rates changing and things of that nature. Would you still be inclined to wait, or would you want to move your timeline up?
Well, Aaron, I don't think interest rates are really going to have that much to do with the situation
Yeah.
that we're in right now.
Which I appreciate. I guess I'm curious though, do you think the cost of money doubling in the last 12 months has affected the real estate market?
Yes.
Okay. Well, just by you saying that really demonstrates that we should get together and discuss the options. So I'm looking here at my schedule. If we were to connect under normal conditions, would you be available in the evenings or the afternoons?
Are we talking 2 weeks from now?
Well, I mean, it's really up to you. And I want to be clear too, my intention at this moment is not to pressure you into doing something that you don't feel comfortable with.
Sounds a little bit pressury.
Yeah, which I appreciate. And I guess I'm wondering though, this time around, having had the agent that you had previously, whoever you end up choosing moving forward, I have to imagine you want somebody that's both polite, but also aggressive to ensure that you get your home sold. That's what you want, isn't it?
That's correct.
You know what the great news is?
You're both of them.
You found what you're looking for. People who are analytical by nature start to ask questions. And behind the questions are more questions, but go ahead.
An obvious thing, you've got incredible memory, and you got the gift of gab.
Well, and here's what I would challenge you with. Both of those things are inaccurate assessments of reality. So what I mean by that is this. I promise you, when I came out of my mother's womb, I did not speak like this. What is also true is you get rewarded in public for what you spend countless hours doing in private. So I have handwritten out scripts by hand every day. I role play twice a day, 6 days a week for 3 years, right? So I would record myself doing presentations and be like, go to my wife and be like, you want to see some shit funny? Like, let's watch this. Right? I would listen to, I role played with some of the top people across the country. I had role play partners doing 200 deals a year and I'm doing 50. You play to the level that you practice. You know why you guys don't want to practice with people like me?
We're scared.
You're scared. But if you don't practice with people like me, will you be able to get this good?
No.
No. You see? Continue.
So you're using scripts when you're on the phone.
100%. Everything I do is scripted.
Right, but then once you're in front of the person, you've got to make sure that you've got it down packed. You're not going to be using scripts when you're in front of them.
You will be able to if you've internalized them.
Yeah.
Which goes back to practice. See, here's what's cool. Like, we all want 1% outcomes, don't we? We want 1% income, 1% bodies, 1% relationships. We all want that shit, right? What does it take to get the 1% outcome? Nauseating, disgusting amounts of time. Here, take this note. Write this down. V over T. So we want a 1% outcome, but the reason why we don't accomplish it is because we drastically underestimate the volume of activity or the volume of practice that's required and the length of time that it's required to get it. Right? We put baby efforts, then get mad that it didn't work. Bullshit. I practice 1 day a week. God damn it. So I don't really think I'm particularly special. I think what happens is that we put a halo of talent on people. We're like, you're talented. When the truth is, it's like, you fucking practice all the time. They're like, oh, it's genetics. He's just buff because it's genetics. It's like, now that motherfucker's in the gym 7 days a week. And eats salads all the time. Yes, sir.
I had a question for you. I hear the role-playing practice, but what I picked up that was very important
Yes, sir.
is your active listening, where you
Yes.
what he's saying, and you so that kind of helped him to be more comfy.
100%. And you notice his questions were aggressive. And as they came at me, what did I do? Yeah, it's cool. Okay, so have you ever played a sport like for an extended period of time that you got?
It's like my whole life.
Whole life, right?
Yeah, my whole life.
So once you got to a certain place, did you have to react to things or you could respond to things?
Great, like in soccer.
Yeah, bro. Like someone would come at you aggressive.
And you just do it. You don't think about it.
But also too, you've gotten so many reps.
That's true.
Like something could be coming at you and you're just like, okay, like I know what this is. Yeah, I was just, yeah, that's cool. That's fine. Yeah, my job's to help you. It's never talking to do anything. And then he's like, yeah, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I'll be here 15 days from now to help you. I guess I'm wondering. I'm actively paying attention to what he's saying. But the only way I can actively pay attention to somebody else is what? If I don't have to think about what to say. And the only way to not think about what to say is, God damn it keeps coming back to that. You want to be able to stand in a room with people and role play like that? You got to earn it. I'd love to be able to outsource push-ups to the Philippines and get diesel. That'd be fucking dope. So now we get to the pricing portion of the listing presentation. Which notice, in the example that I gave you, are we talking about marketing at all?
No.
Never, not once. I never presented marketing on 2,000 properties sold. Ever. Okay? I don't have all big fucking spiel about what we do and all this other stuff. Because we all know that's horseshit. Because if you price it right and disappear off planet Earth, what's going to happen? It's going to fucking sell. Independent of you. So where's the real skill? This. Helping people to price property correctly. That's the actual skill. Not getting people to be like, look at me, I'm so cool. Or all your bullshit marketing thing, because now you're pandering. And then they're just going to compare that to somebody else who then tells them some other bullshit that they believe. Right? This is the main skill. This is what has allowed me to sell so many listings, is being able to present price. Now, how do most people go about presenting price? I'm the expert. I got a C on a test. I spent $1,000. And I am not a felon yet. Therefore, I'm the omnipresent, all-knowing God of real estate. Guys, it's fucking stupid. It's ridiculous that you guys think that. And then when agents want to pontificate about economics, I'm like, bro, half you motherfuckers are broke. What are you talking about economics? So stop trying to lead with authority, right? I study homes and prices every day. Therefore, I assume you'll list with me at a price that'll cause it to sell. You know what time frame that exists for where you can lead with authority? When there was no fucking internet. They have access to the same shit you do. And they look at it way fucking more than you do. They're refreshing their Redfin every goddamn day. Because 65% of Americans have all their money tied up into their house. But you think you know better than them. So you go in there and try to authoritatively tell them, this is what it is. And if they don't like it, what do? See you later.
So I have a question about that, because sometimes they think they know what it's worth. Like I had a home that I did a comp for that was like 630,
yeah.
And they said they had $1 million home.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with that?
You have to ask.
Without being
yeah.
authoritative.
Ask questions. So I'll show you how to do it. Okay? It's good. So instead of trying to sell, instead of trying to be authoritative, ask questions to help people to get self-discovery, right? So these are some key phrases, and then I'll role play them so you can hear what they sound like. That's an option. Somebody says to you, yeah, I want to list for 700, and it's like 600. Yeah, that's an option. I mean, I want to be clear. You're the boss here. My job is to help you to make a decision. It's never to talk you into doing anything, right? So we'll go over the information together as a team, and then we can decide what makes sense for you and your family. Fair enough? I guess I'm curious, having seen this information, seen what's active on the market and not selling, seen what's sold and closed most recently, I'm wondering, if you were a buyer and you were going to buy this place all over again, where do you think you would feel comfortable making an offer that you believe would be reflective of fair market value? What does that do?
It brings it back to
it forces them to address reality. Guys, I need you to understand something. You guys, we all think as humans, we're good, accurate assessors of reality. We are not. We want to warp reality to shape what we want. Do you understand that? So, and we have all of these psychological quirks. Who knows what the endowment effect is? The endowment effect is because it's mine, I think it's better. You watch this with your clients. When they're selling, they're like, oh yeah, these fucking 20-year-old kitchens are fantastic. They're coming back in style. But then when they become a buyer, they're like, what the fuck are these sellers thinking? That's the endowment effect. I used to get mad at people for that, but then I'm like, oh shit, that's a psychological quirk that we have. Right? Another one is resulting. You know what resulting is? Because it happened in 1995, it means it's going to happen today. That's dumb. But our brains do this. Well, when I was selling a home in 2005, my uncle's sister's brother just put a sign out front and it worked. What causes you to think that that's true today? Well, 6 months ago, my neighbor, yeah, the cost of money was half. Right? But staying out of, I present playfully and with emotion, but I'm not going to talk to a seller that way. Right. You're going to say to me, yeah, I'm thinking 700. Okay. And trust me, I'd love to be your superhero. Put an S on my chest, cape on my back, and get you 700. At the same time, are we in agreement that what something's worth is what somebody's willing to pay? Would you agree with that? Yeah. So let's take a look at this information. I mean, we can see here the last two closed sales in your neighborhood was 600. And we can see here on my iPad, if you guys are presenting with pieces of paper, I'm going to run into your listing presentation and smack you in the fucking head. What are you doing, bro? Do you ride a horse to the fucking listing appointment? All of you are tied to your devices all the time. That's how you consume information. Why are you presenting with pieces of paper? They're one-dimensional. You can't zoom in. You can't look at shit. You're going to tell them their kitchen's nicer, but they can't zoom in to actually see that it's nicer. Right? So, and I bring my iPad and I zoom in on the kitchen. So let's take a look. This one's sold at like 600, and we see here, how would you say that that kitchen compares to yours?
Well, mine is really maintained well, and it's nice, and it's all white.
Yeah, and I totally appreciate it. I respect that. And we can see here, did they redo this kitchen?
They did.
Yeah, so, you know, and I'm aware you can have your own personal preference. At the same time, you have a remodel kitchen, they have a remodel kitchen. Would you say that that's accurate?
No, mine is not really remodeled.
Okay, so yours isn't remodeled.
It's well maintained.
I see, I understand. Now, I'm curious, if you were a buyer, not a seller, and because I know those hats are different, and if you were going to buy this place all over again, which kitchen do you think you would have preference? One that was modified or one that's well maintained?
Well, I really like my kitchen. It's my style.
I appreciate that. And what I'm aware of is, you know, sometimes I know I can do this myself, is I assume that everybody's going to like what I like. I guess my question to you is that true for you in your experience in life, that everybody likes what you like?
No.
Unfortunately not, right? I mean, I would like it to be that way. What did I just do? Did I make her wrong? Who did I make wrong? I was like, yo, I do this too. I get it. I brought it back to me. And then I'm like, okay, so, and let's take a look at this other one. We see here, this one sold, looks like it's 615. And I want you to see, when did that sell? Say last month.
Last month.
Yeah, and we can see here, let's look at the pictures of this one. How is their kitchen and bathrooms done?
They're updated.
They're updated as well, right? And I guess my question to you is this, because again, I'd love to be your superhero. Put an S on my chest, cape on my back, and get you $1 million while we're at it. Because we get compensated more the more we help you sell it for. At the same time, if you were a buyer, not a seller, because I know those hats are different, and if you were going to buy this place all over again, knowing that you're probably going to be modifying kitchens and baths, honestly, where do you think you'd feel comfortable making an offer that you believe would be reflective of fair market value?
I would probably offer 600.
Okay, and don't you think most buyers feel pretty similar to you?
Probably.
Okay, so then it sounds like we're in agreement that the marketplace is showing us somewhere around 600 seems to make sense.
Okay.
Wow.
I have a follow-up question.
Go ahead, time out, but I want to dissect what just happened there. Okay, so one, I didn't make her wrong for her thinking, because some of you guys are like, really, bro? That's what you think? And it's you don't hide it in your face or your body language. You're like, you know what I'm saying? You don't. It just comes out. You're like, whoa, really? Whew. So I stay neutral, and I didn't make you wrong, and then we go over it, but then I help you to self-discover by asking you questions. Instead, did I tell you that those kitchens were nicer than yours?
No.
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 Never said that.
Did I say that?
No.
Do you guys say that shit? Yes. All the time. Imagine somebody walked in your house and was like, bro, I got a shirt that's nicer than that. Immediately he'd be like, bro, like, right? But that's what we do.
Yeah.
And then we'll say stupid shit like, well, what specifically causes you to believe that you're, really? Imagine me being like, what specifically caused you to believe that those glasses were cool? You'd be like, bro, I love these glasses. Like, you're an asshole, right? But do we do that to sellers? Yes. We try to make them wrong, right? So then I asked you this question, and there's a lot going on in this question. I was like, so if you were a buyer, not a seller, and you notice what I did with my body, it was intentional. I know those hats are different. What am I asking you to do when I do this as an adult?
To think like a buyer.
To take the hat off. You understood that implicitly without me even speaking those words to you, right? I know those hats are different. So if you were going to buy this place all over again, knowing that you were probably going to redo, you know, kitchens and baths, honestly is neurolinguistic programming. Everything after the word honestly has to be what?
Honest.
Come on, guys. Everything after the word honestly has to be honest. So now your brain is triggered to be like, I have to be what? Honest, don't bullshit. Tell me the truth. And you were like, yeah, probably somewhere around 600. Yeah. I said, I'm in agreement with you. It's her idea, not mine. I'm in agreement with you. So it sounds like we're in agreement. The market is showing us somewhere around 600. Who's showing us? What do you guys want to do? I'm showing you. I'm the all-omnipotent, omnipresent real estate agent. I know everything. I do 5 deals a year and I know everything. Right? So that's very intentional. So now you're totally primed to answer that accurately. I'm taking off these frames that actually distort reality. Being in the seller perspective distorts the reality because you're going to want to inflate it. So I take that off by saying the hat thing. And when I give you options, how do you feel?
More comfortable.
And in control. But who's actually in control? You ever seen Star Wars where he's like, these are not the drones you're looking for. And then they just go away, right? So now I'm like, okay, so the first option that we have at our disposal is we can position the property a little bit higher than 600. The logic behind that strategy, Rose, is we can always come down, we can't go back up, and the logic is I want to leave room to negotiate. Now, why am I saying that to them? Because they're fucking thinking it.
So that answered my next question.
Right?
Because it was like what I want to list.
You see?
30.
So I'm going to address it. And what I'm going to do is like, dude, I want to put it all on the table. Like, here it is. Right? I don't want anything like that's left undone or unsaid. And there's not that there's anything wrong with that strategy. There are a few considerations, though, Rose, that I'd like to review with you. So that way you're fully equipped to decide what you feel is best, okay? So the first consideration is that option usually takes longer. Now, I know you shared with me that you really need to be moved to Arizona in the next like 120 days. Is that correct?
Yes.
So what that would mean then is we have to be under contract in the next 30 to 45 because it usually takes 30 to 45 days to close. Have you thought about that?
No.
So if we utilize that strategy of starting higher and coming down, it could end up jeopardizing timing. Now, let me ask you this. What would happen on the outside chance if we were still sitting here 4 or 5 months from now and this home wasn't sold? What would that mean for you and your family?
Oh, I don't think that'll happen. The market's hot and properties are being sold every day.
Yeah, which I appreciate. At the same time, what I am aware of is that, things have changed. So I guess I'm just wondering, just for my own knowledge, what would happen if that did happen for you? What would that mean for you guys?
I would be in trouble because I need to move.
Okay. So now that's something to consider with regards to that strategy. Okay. Now the second strategy that I've seen sellers just like you deploy in this market is where they see what's reasonable and they, based on comparables like we just did, and they choose to position the property very close to what's sold and closed most recently, or actually a little bit below. Do you know why they would do that?
To get more buyers.
That's right. It creates a lot of urgency. You get a lot of people in. Perhaps we can get more than one offer, force people to compete, and we'll end up coming to the surface as the absolute most that somebody's willing to pay. Now, the other thing that's true is we also get to pick the best terms and conditions. Can I explain to you what I mean?
Yes, please.
Well, if you get multiple offers on the table, and in this environment where interest rates are fluctuating up and down, let's say we had 3 offers, 2 of them are financed with 10% down, and 1 of them is financed with 50% down. Which do you think we would probably go with?
50% down.
Why is that?
Because there's more security that they have.
That's right. And I know that this is important to you time frame wise, so there's more certainty in that offer, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so you have a choice to make, and whatever you decide, I'll support you 100%. One option is we start a little bit higher. Logic being I could come down, I'll go back up, I want to leave room to negotiate. And in doing so, understand that timing issue and how it could affect that. The second option is we choose an option that homeowners like yourself I've seen choose frequently with great results, position it very competitively, close to that 600 number, or actually a little bit below, maybe like 590. And in doing so, we can get a lot of people interested, force them to compete. Not only will we end up with the most that somebody's willing to pay, but we'll get the best terms and conditions for you with the best certainty of an offer that's going to get you out to Arizona. Now, either one of those are okay. Based on what you're looking to accomplish and why in the time frame you'd like to make it happen in, what do you think we should do?
I'm ready to sign.
You see how that's completely different than what you're doing? You're making them wrong, you're wanting to argue with them, I know and you don't, wanting to fight with them. So key phrases, this is an option, you're the boss, whatever you decide, I'll support you 100%. And again, stop trying to lead with authority, okay? Stop trying to be like I know and you don't, because they have access to all the same information because of the internet. Closing is a different skill than presenting. Okay, what do you think I mean by that? That closing is a different skill than presenting. I know, you notice the energy in the room? It's like, oh fuck, I've been doing that whole time, man. I'm doing this wrong, shit. How is closing different than presenting?
Closing is actually asking for a commitment.
It's actually asking. You know what closing is? You know the analogy I like to give? It's taking off all your clothes and being like, it's what it is. We doing this or not? There's a book, it says knock and the door shall what? Open. Ask and you shall what? Receive. It requires you to do what? Ask. So it seems like we're in agreement with regards to strategy and approach. right, in terms of how to position the property. So do you have any other questions or concerns for me before we take care of the appropriate paperwork?
Yes, so because of the price, I'm listing lower than expected. I just met with an agent who said that he can list at 630 and get me, and he's also lowering his commission.
Okay, awesome. And I appreciate you, bringing those things
So
up to
I'm
me.
concerned because the next property I'm buying, I'm really gonna need to make as much money to pick the menu.
Yeah, and I totally respect that. And I appreciate your straightforwardness, right? Like if we're gonna enter into some sort of agreement with each other, it's gotta be based on trust. And part of that trust is being able to have open conversations with one another. So I guess here's my question to you. Having looked at the information together as a team, because trust me, I would like it to be more as well. Knowing that those other two sold at 600-ish, and they had some modifications that we do not. I mean, honestly, how do you think it would serve you and benefit you to list it at 630 when you need to be out to Arizona in 120 days? Does that seem like a realistic expectation?
No.
No. Now, you do want an agent that's going to have the intestinal fortitude to earn your business with integrity, telling you the truth up front, don't you?
I appreciate that.
Yeah. You know what the good news is? You found what you're looking for. So here's my question is, if we can come to an agreement in terms of the professional fee today, because I'm open to having a conversation, and I know we'll be able to work that out. Like I'm interested in win-win dynamics. I want us both to feel good about what we're doing. Otherwise we won't do it. If we could agree on that today, would there be any other reason why we couldn't proceed right now?
No.
What's happening here? Most of you guys verbally vomit when she mentions commission. I'll do it for 4. Ah!
Yeah, you're still not talking numbers.
And I isolated both of the objections. One was price, and I leveled with you. I'm like, does that seem like a realistic expectation? No. You do want an agent that's like gonna be honest with you, don't you? Yes. That other agent just is out. I just took like a fucking sniper gun. Done. Now, most of you guys jump into the commission. What's the problem with answering an objection right away? One might be right behind it. You haven't figured out if what I want it all to get on the table. Again, closings, this is what it is. We doing this or not? So I want it all to get out. So what I did is I did what's called a set aside. So imagine like there's a boulder between me and you, like this impediment. So I'm like, if I grab this, I put it over here and I'm like, you see that thing over there? If we could deal with that over there, can we do this? And you're like, look, she's just like, yes, we can do this, right? So we can do this. That's what I'm doing. I isolated the objection and I set it aside. And then you're like, yeah, I don't think so. Now I say to you, great, what were you thinking? Why do I say that to her?
You want to hear what she has to say?
Why?
Because you don't know, like you don't want to put yourself in a position.
We're negotiating, and who do I want to speak first? Her. See, you just have to have like the discipline to follow this process. It's like a checklist, like a pilot's checklist. You fuck it up, it'll get messed up. You'll verbally vomit, you'll tell her, and she'll be like, well, I'm gonna think about it, I'm gonna talk to the other agent, leave. And then you'll get in your car, you're like, I really think we connected. And then I call you, hey, I just want to give you a quick heads up, let you know she decided to list with us. We appreciate the opportunity though, and be sure to bring us the first buyer if you got one. Bye-bye now. Because we're negotiating. So I want you to tell first. So let's say she tells me like 5%. That's an option. Remember, that's an option. Somebody says 5%, you guys get indignant. Like, how dare you even ask? You guys will look on Amazon for 3 fucking hours to save $5 on a product. But you freak the fuck out when somebody asks you to lower 1 percentage point, which is $10,000. Everything that I just told you, the scripts, the dialogues, everything, there's a class online, it's $250. You guys are like, oh, it's too expensive. Look, the way you make decisions, if you can't make a decision when you have ample information over relatively small amounts of money, how do you imagine you can expect other people to make big decisions with you about big amounts of money? She's like, 5%, yeah, that's an option. And you know, what's interesting for me is I'd never want to put you in a situation that actually wasn't beneficial to you as a homeowner. Can I explain to you what I mean?
Yes.
Who's that about, by the way? Who do you guys make it about?
You.
Me. Well, I got bills to pay. I got a new baby. I got diapers and shit, bro. Instead, it's like, yeah, can I share with you, like, I never want to put you in a situation that wasn't beneficial to you as a homeowner. Can I explain to you what I mean? And they're like, well, yeah. Well, it's like, you know, agents don't control people buy, but they definitely have influence over what they see, right? So let's say that there's, like right now, I did some homework in preparation for our appointment, and there's 25 other properties here in Deerfield that are in your price point between 600 and 700,000. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and in the last 30 days, do you know how many of those sold?
No idea.
8. So what that means is there was, 17 of them that are still there unsold. And we don't want to be in that position, do we?
No.
No. And let's say of those 25 that are available for sale, 20 of them are offering out what's customary in terms of a co-broke. So like 2.5%, maybe 3%. and the rest are offering out some sort of discount, right? 2%, 1%. So let's imagine that you're a full-time commission-based salesperson and you have an opportunity to show properties. Remember, agents don't control people buy, but they do have influence over what they see. Honestly, as an agent, which properties do you think you'd be more excited about showing and selling?
The ones with a full commission.
And why is that?
Because I'm going to take home more money.
That's exactly right. It's just human nature, isn't it? Yeah, so just by you saying that demonstrates that you're beginning to realize that the professional fee is a marketing tool that we use to help you to get top dollar. So the commission on our end to help you with the sale is 3%. Now what we're just talking about is what we're going to offer out in terms of a co-broke to another agent. And we have a couple options at our disposal. Whatever you decide, I'll support you. Fair enough?
Fair.
So the first option is we offer out something less than what's customary. So something less than like 2.5%, right? So maybe like 2%, 2.25%. And in doing so, we just need to know and understand it could end up affecting showings in some way, right? And I know you said you want to maximize value and do it quickly and efficiently, so that's something to consider. The second option is we offer out what's customary, maybe 2.5%, 3%. And in doing that, we dramatically widen the exposure, and that'll increase the probability we'll get you an offer in the time frame that you want and net you the most. Either one's okay. Based on what you're looking to accomplish and why, what do you think we should do?
5%.
Okay, yeah. So wait. So what are we going to offer out as a co-broke? So it's 3% on the listing side. So what are we going to offer out as a co-broke?
2.5.
2.5, you're cool with that? Great, I'm cool with that too. You have any other questions before we take care of the appropriate paperwork?
Nope.
What if you bring the buyer? If you bring the buyer?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So if we bring the buyer, what we can do is, I guess, what were you thinking? So the total's 5.5. So if we bring the buyer, like, what were you thinking? Because remember, we're going to be handling both sides of the transaction.
4.5?
I normally wouldn't do that, but like I appreciate where you're coming from, and as a way for me to demonstrate that I'm equally committed to you as you are to me, we can go ahead and do that. Fair enough?
Fair, thank you.
Why did I say it? Well, first of all, when I go like, if I would have said yes really quick, what does she think? Could ask for more.
Yeah.
I'm going to make her feel better by going, I normally wouldn't do that. Not only that, what's the probability that I'm going to bring the buyer? Fucking 0. You guys get all hung up on that. Was I hung up on that at all? No. So what did you notice about that? Yes, but what did you notice about that as I ran through that? What is your awareness?
You negotiated with her without her like realizing that you were negotiating.
That's right. And who felt in control?
She did.
But who was really in control? These are not the drones you are looking for. Go ahead.
What if she said, okay, but could you lower your commission? You said 3.
Yeah, and I appreciate you asking that. I really do. And what's interesting for me is that, part of the reason why you're hiring an agent is because of their skills in negotiating. Because they're going to be having conversations about your price without you present. Have you thought about that? Yeah, so the other agent, when they said that they would do it for less, how long were they in your house before they said that they would do that?
Oh, they knocked on my door and told me.
Oh, like right away? Wow, so like in 10 minutes?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So how are you going to feel knowing that you hired an agent based on their skills in negotiating, and they demonstrate right in front of you, Rose, their inability to protect the value of their own fee?
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, most people don't. You see, 1% is only 1% out of 100%. 1% is 6% is 17%. Would you lower your price by 17% just to sell the property?
No.
Of course not. I mean, you have a first-class home, don't you?
Yes.
You don't want to sell in a second-class manner.
No.
And you want an agent that's going to fight for you tooth and nail to get you every penny possible, don't you?
Yes.
You know what the great news is? You found what you're looking for. Let's go ahead and get started. How many of you guys feel more prepared to go on a listing presentation after this time together? No, that's not acceptable to me. Everybody's hands should be raised. Good. So if this has been helpful or useful to you, if you want to get a recording, because we got our boy here recording it, take a picture of that. If you want to book a call with me, talk to me about coaching or training or anything like that, you can do that there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have a formal presentation about EXP, the model and the opportunity. If that's not something that you're interested in, it's cool. I love you anyway. I hope you got tremendous value from our time together today, and I look forward to continuing to pour out value. I do encourage you to stay and just hear me out, right? I am aware that I was a visceral hard no for a whole year. Hard no, like Ryukin no. Because I actually used to own part of an office. So write this down. If your mind is blind to the possibility, your eyes will be blind to the opportunity. If your mind is blind to the possibility, your eyes will be blind to the opportunity. And the most expensive thing you can own is a closed mind. The most expensive thing you can own is a closed mind. Okay? So if somebody's approached you with this before, if they talked to you about it before, I encourage you just to suspend whatever it is that you think you know so you can hear this concisely and clearly. Because my experience is if you are entrepreneurial and you are someone that is ambitious, once somebody properly explains this to you, you can't unsee it.